Friends, look no further. You have arrived to the best podcast. Here you will have fun and at the same time learn about strategic management. You don't need to be a manager to implement strategic management in your day to day. And here we will share you with some tips that will make your life easier. To make it more interesting, today we will analyze the book Essay on Blindness by José Saramago, which presents us with an alternative world full of challenges where we can see strategic management in practice. For this episode, we have my colleagues, Itzel and Sophie, and it is she who will tell us more details about this book.
Thank you very much, Sandy. Let's give a little context about the book Essay on Blindness. Was written by José Saramago, a Portuguese born in 1922, winner of a Nobel Prize in Literature in 1998. Author of other titles such as The Gospel According to Jesus Christ, Palestine Exists, and The Intermittences of the Dead, among others. This author, in addition to his particular way of writing, is characterized by addressing uncomfortable topics in an ironic and metaphorical way. Essay on Blindness, not exception.
That's right. Not for nothing, but Saramago is one of my favorite writers. Essay on Blindness tells us about a group of people who try to cope with a spontaneous pandemic of wild illness in the most civilized way possible. Through the reading, Saramago invites us to reflect on human nature and society through a story full of personal emotions, narrated exquisitely. In today's episode, we will discuss the most relevant points and how we relate them to strategic management.
It is important that before we begin, we clarify some basic points. From now on, we will see strategy as the art of directing operations. And hand in hand with the strategy, we refer strategic management, which is based on a key thought that raises goals and long-term objectives, considering the resources you need and outlining a plan of action to achieve its objectives. Strategic management is implemented by a leader who has communication skills and is constantly planning what to do, organizing the resources at his disposal, directing the activities, and monitoring the results obtained to implement improvements.
Now that you mention it, the whole book that talks about strategies. From the moment people arrive to live in the asylum, they look for ways to survive signs, they look it up and cut off from the outside world. Being the doctor and his wife, the people who come up with the strategies to lead the whole group. Surely you have life the moment when you have to make decisions that can have a positive or negative impact on the other people, for example, in your work or in your family.
Of course, Sophie. In fact, in the book, we see clear examples of leadership. One of the ones that caught my attention was the following.
The path they took leads to the center of town, but that is not the doctor's wife's intention. What she wants is to quickly find a place to leave those behind her safe and go alone in search of food.
Imagine suddenly losing your seat, the stress and worry you will feel about becoming visual impaired. It is exactly in those moments when you will most need the support of a leader, someone who transmits peace and serenity. In many moments of our life, we face situations that become a new world for us. At the beginning, it is normal to have more complications than usual as we adapt to the unknown. It's at this stage when we learn the most, and this can only be achieved if we are accompanied by a leader who teaches to be patient, give us experience, and guide us in the dark.
This is an excellent example of the strategic thinking of the doctor's wife through the book. Constantly, different problems arise and she seeks to solve them for the common good and to make life easier for others. We can say that she takes a role of resource allocator type decisions, since she's constantly in charge of distributing what they are getting to survive. Undoubtedly, from the beginning of the book, the doctor and his wife are the main leaders who manage to keep most of the people alive and try to stay calm despite the challenges they face. For example, the death of someone or feeling lost in the city without knowing which way to go to reach the rest of the group.
I agree with you, Santi. The role of the doctor's wife is crucial because without her, they will not have survived. Another tip we can give to our audience is that having communication skills is essential to achieve anything. An example that left me reflecting on communication was the following.
When he realized that he had been wasting his time talking to a lower ranking official than his colleague, the doctor, he realized that the only way to get the information where it was needed, and in a safe way, would be to talk to the director of his own hospital service, doctor to doctor, no bureaucrats involved, and then have him set the damned official wheels in motion.
The doctor was worried about the future of humanity, since he seemed to have found an unprecedented disease, and when he wanted to communicate it to the authorities, he ran into a person who did not understand the seriousness of the situation and only complicated things. This makes me think of all the times we have wanted to solve a problem, but we approach the wrong people.
Possibly, this is one of the reasons why hierarchies exist within an organization. Strategic decisions should be made by the managers, as they have a broader vision of the situation, being responsible for putting the way forward for the rest of the team. Let us remember that as good leaders, planning is an essential part of any organization. Since it shows us a path to follow, it's possible that we may need to make some adjustments along the way due to the situations that arise, but always having a clear objective.
That's right, Sophie. Planning is something basic within strategic management, and Saramago shows us multiple moments in which different aspects had to be considered to make a decision. For example, when deciding where to take people who were beginning to go blind.
Now we have to decide where we will put them. Mr. Minister, said the President of the Logistics and Security Commission, which should be in charge of transporting, accelerating and assisting the patients. What immediate possibilities are available to us? The Minister wanted to know. We have an empty asylum in disuse, a military facility that is no longer in use, and industrial fair in advanced stage of construction and hypermarket in bankruptcy. After analyzing each of the options, they conclude that the asylum was the most suitable building.
It is important to emphasize that when planning, we must not only look at the needs of a few, we must consider the needs of all and take into account that the solution we are going to give is the one that benefits the majority, which is why in the book the decision is made to take people to an abundant asylum. That's why, my friends, if you find yourself in the situation of making a decision, our best advice is to consider all possible options, thinking about the needs of all. Analyze them and choose the one that you think will do the best for everyone. Of course, we cannot satisfy everyone, but we can look for the good of the majority.
Sophie's comments are very important because when you have a position as a manager, it's difficult to make decisions that are approved by the majority. However, it is not impossible. Knowing the members of your team, you can find the right way to communicate the decision so that it's accepted in the best possible way. Another crucial moment in which we see planning reflected is in the process of distributing food among the people in the asylum, as it is discussed how to do it in a fair and efficient way. which implies establishing clear rules and adequate procedures to ensure that everyone receives their fair share. Saramago put in this way.
The doctor was already saying, "We form a line. My wife goes in front. Each one puts his hand on the shoulder of the one who goes before him, so there will be no danger of us getting lost." The first blind man said, "I'm not going with that one." He was obviously referring to the thief.
Okay, here we can see that the doctor is organizing the group of blind people to form a line and move together safely through the asylum facilities. What can we take from this excerpt, guys?
Well, in my point, this act of organization implies establishing orders and a structure to avoid confusion and ensure everyone's safety. The first blind man's decide to go with the thief also reflects the importance of organization in creating a safe and trusting environment for the group.
Completely itself. I think this is a scene where you can see a clear use of organization within this group. Of course, the subsequent scenes show us the disadvantages of not following this organization, but that's a separate point.
"I don't know how we're going to live if the heat presses," said the doctor. "All that garbage rotting out there, the dead animals, maybe people too. The bad thing is that we're not organized. There should be an organization in every house, in every street, in every neighborhood." "A government," said the woman. "An organization. The body is also an organized system. It is alive as long as it remains organized. Death is nothing more than the effect of disorganization. And how could a society of blind people organize itself to live? By organizing itself to organize itself is, in a way, to have eyes. The world is full of blind people. I think we're all going to die. It is a matter of time." "Dying is always a matter of time," said the doctor. "But dying just because you're blind must be the worst way to die."
Well, to end this round of fragments that touch on organization, this second step of the administrative process, but also offers a bridge to the conclusion by reflecting on the importance of organization for the survival and function of a society. The doctor and the other characters discussion the end to organize to meet the challenges they face, such as heat and food shortages. The doctor stressed that organization is crucial for survival, comparing the human body to an organized system that sustains life. The reflecting leads to the conclusion that organization is essential for survival at both the individual and societal levels.
Through these examples, we have been able to reflect on the importance of effective leadership, peer communication, careful planning, and solid organization in whatever context we or team find ourselves, whether in a group of survivors in our blindness by a pandemic or in a company facing challenges in marketplace. The book reminds us that strategic management is not just a set of business techniques, but a fundamental tool for survival and success in any situation. Like Saramago's characters, we too can face challenges more effectively if we apply the principles of strategic management in our personal and professional lives.
Ultimately, Essay on Blindness invites us to reflect on human nature, society, and the transformative power of strategic planning and organization in the quest for a better future. We thank you all, our audience, for joining us for this program, and we wish you a good evening.